Hey, we're talking today with May McDaniel. May is going to be hiking the Appalachian Trail.
That's correct. I'm going to do what's called a through hike, which means I'm going to go from one end to the other in one hiking season. I'm going to start walking at Springer Mountain, which is the southern terminus. I'm going to walk from Georgia to Maine, and the other end of it is at Mount Katahdin in Baxter State Park in Maine. The reason that it says one season is because I need to be in Maine by October the 15th because Mount Katahdin closes then because of the weather.
I think of the movie The Shining when you say that.
When you can't get in because of the snow.
Right.
Well, that's exactly the way Baxter State Park becomes. It could be a little later, but it also could be a little earlier, depending on the weather. And at this time of year, there are people who are already starting their through hike in February. However, this girl doesn't like to be cold. And if you start in February, you're pretty much guaranteed of a month of cold weather, including snow. And there's certainly a possibility I'm going to hit some of that in late March and early April, but every day you get closer to spring, the less likely that is to happen.
So, May, when are you actually going to start this journey?
My registered date to start is March the 16th.
And how many miles is this all total that you're going to be hiking?
2,190 if you're counting.
And how long do you anticipate it's going to take you?
I'm anticipating 6 months. My goal is to average 15 miles per day. If I do that, I can finish it in approximately 5 months and 1 week. I'm not going to push it that hard. I know that I'm in good shape, but I also am not going to push myself beyond what I can do comfortably because that's guaranteed to get you off the trail.
Now, talking about being in shape, have you ever done this before?
No.
This is obviously something you've been training to do, though, correct?
Yes and no.
I was going to say, how do you practice to do this? I mean, how do you train for this?
Well, I've always stayed in good physical shape. I make the gym usually 5 times a week. I do spin, RPM, and I also do weightlifting. So I started out in pretty good shape, and I have added to that additional walking, and then I also have done training hikes on the Pine Mountain Trail. Now, the Pine Mountain Trail is not as difficult as the Appalachian Trail. However, when you exercise, you use different muscles weightlifting than you do bike riding. Well, the same is true of hiking. Even though it appears to be just a walk, you are avoiding rocks, stepping over roots, making sure you don't fall down where there are leaves on a downhill. So you're using different muscles, and so I have been doing those almost every week that I've been out and done anywhere from 5 to 10 miles on the Pine Mountain Trail.
How many people would you say on average do what you're about to do every year?
Well, the number has been increasing. Our population has increased, and then you have movies like Wild, and even though that was about the Pacific Coast Trail, it raises interest in things like the Appalachian Trail. Last year, approximately 2,200 to 2,500 people started the trail. They are anticipating that we will have at least that many this year who start. Approximately 10% finish.
Now, the Appalachian Trail is, I know you've told me it's maintained for the most part, but in relation to, say, the Columbus Riverwalk, it's not maintaining anything like that, is it?
No.
So.
No.
Okay.
This is a little more than a walk in the woods, but it is maintained. The Appalachian Trail Conservancy is the overall organization. Their headquarters are in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. But there are volunteer organizations at various points along the trail who maintain 20 miles, 50 miles of the trail. These are people who get out there on a regular basis, make sure that if there have been any trees that have fallen, they saw through them, get them off the trail. Last year we had the fires, and part of that part of the Appalachian was affected by those fires. So I'm sure that those organizations where that occurred have been out there seeing what needs to be done. When you lose vegetation, you may increase the erosion. Erosion could take out part of the trail. The trail varies slightly from year to year for that reason, because if there has been a washout, then the trail has to be rerouted to avoid that. So the actual miles varies from year to year.
I was going to say, I hope I hope it has been marked well, so that you can stay on the beaten path, so to speak.
Yes.
So a couple of more questions. First off, we're talking with Mae McDaniel. Mae is going to be hiking the Appalachian Trail. Mae, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am not the typical hiker. I am certainly not the typical through hiker for the Appalachian Trail. I am a woman. The typical demographic is male. I am also 71 years old, and I'm a veteran. So I have some characteristics that make me a little bit unusual for undertaking something like this.
Now, so we've heard of people that have tried to swim from Cuba to Miami. We've had people do all kind of records, so to speak. Why the Appalachian Trail for Mae McDaniel? I'm not quite sure exactly where the original idea came from, but when I first started thinking about it, it was more of a personal challenge. And I made the decision that I was in physical shape to at least begin this endeavor over Memorial Day weekend. I went out and walked the entire length of the Pine Mountain Trail, which is 23 miles. I did 12 miles one day, 11 miles the next day, had people for dinner one of those nights, and went to the gym the following day. And I still got out of bed without hurting, so I decided that I was basically in shape that I could at least think about undertaking this. It's grown, though, from my personal challenge to more of a, if I can do this, so can you. I have created a nonprofit, Destination100.com, and I have done a lot of public speaking, and I anticipate when I get back that I will do community seminars, workshops, as well as just general talks about doing this, because I did point out that I got out of bed after 23 miles and I don't hurt. Anybody can be in the same kind of shape that I am if they choose to be. And there are a lot of ways when someone says to me, how do I get to be like you? It's not a one-word answer. And it's definitely not a one-day undertaking. But if you really want to be, if you want to live long and you want to live well, there are a lot of things that you can begin to do, and you change one small habit at a time to get to a point that you're happy with the life that you're living. And Destination 100 means that I expect to live to be 100, and I expect to live every single day of that. Well, I think, definitely hiking the Appalachian Trail is living.
Well, I hope it'll bring attention to the fact that it's never too late to do things. And if you choose to undertake something, there's really nothing standing in your way but your own head.
So let's talk about the actual trip itself. So give me the start date one more time when you're planning to start.
March 16th.
So March 16th, you're going to take out hiking the Appalachian Trail. Where will you actually start?
I'll start at Amicalola Falls. There is an 8-mile approach trail to the Appalachian.
Okay.
And I said I was going to start alone. Actually, I have a couple of friends that are going to walk that first 8 miles with me.
Awesome.
Yes, I think so too. We're going to have a party on this end, and I have several who have said that they will meet me at Katahdin. So I'm anticipating having a party on the other end as well to celebrate getting all that 2,190 miles. But anyway, that's where I'll start. And the first day I won't do much more than the first 8 miles, and then they're going to peel off and I'll stay on the trail. If you don't start on the approach trail, there's a place that you can park, but then you have to backtrack. I think it's about a mile and a half to the entrance to the trail to sign in, and that's your official beginning of the trail.
Well, so how many days would it take you? Let's say you're going to travel, 8 miles a day, 15 miles?
My goal is to do 15 miles a day. But the first marker is when you leave Georgia. And from Springer Mountain, which is the official start of the Appalachian Trail, to the North Carolina line is 79.8 miles. So the first 80 miles, basically. And at 15 miles a day, that should take me somewhere about 6 to 7 days, a little over a week.
Well, that's seriously moving right there.
That is seriously moving. And as I told you, I'm not looking at finishing in less than 6 months because I am going to give myself some leeway.
Right.
Especially at the very beginning, because everything I read says that no matter, and talk to people, no matter what kind of shape you're in, how much training you've done, the first week or so, you don't have what they call trail legs, and you're going to be hurting. So I'm not going to push myself to the point that I want to quit.
Right. What about provisions, eating, so forth? What will you be taking with you? Now, I'm assuming that you're talking about just your person with a backpack and the things that you need on you. You're not going to be taking any type of wagon or nothing's going to be, you're going to haul anything along with you. It's just you and what you got on your person.
That's correct. However, a wagon is going to sound like a really good idea after a little while. The food is actually one of the biggest concerns because you do need so many calories per day,
right,
in order to keep moving.
Right.
And food is heavy. So you're looking for things that have a lot of calories and with as much protein as possible and as lightweight as possible. So things like freeze-dried meals will be a staple. Peanut butter, raisins, Snickers bars, things that have quick energy as well as those things that have the more the slower released energy. I met a local person who hiked the trail, and the first time I met him, he looked at me and he said, "I have 2 words for you, 2 words of advice." And I said, "Oh, what are they?" He said, "Gain weight." So I have deliberately put on almost 10 pounds.
Whatever.
Thank you.
Don't forget, I've seen you the last couple of weeks.
Well, I'm
sitting here thinking this lady's going to need more than a few crackers and a Snickers bar. Make sure you stay very, very hydrated in nutrition. Very important.
Absolutely, they are. And that's one of the reasons that I have been working on trying to gain some weight, because I don't want to get down to a critical body mass index. And before I put on the 10 pounds, if I had lost 15 pounds, I would have been in serious trouble. I am now up to where I could lose 20 with that before I got in trouble. So that's not a whole lot of cushion, but at least it's some. And I do still have another month, and I'm going to try to put on some additional weight.
Well, I think you look fantastic.
Thank you.
Everyone is very excited about this journey that you're going on. It's just not every day that you find a 71-year-old lady that wants to hike the Appalachian Trail, May. It just don't happen. It just doesn't happen every day.
That's true. That's true.
And so I'm so intrigued with your stamina. You're just a ball of fire, and I'm so excited about your journey. Now, if people want to follow you, do you have a website? Do you have a Facebook page? How can we keep up with everything that's going on with May?
Yes, I have all of the above. I have a Facebook page that's a fan page that you can just come in and like, and that's Destination 100. Okay. I do have a website that's also destination100.com. I'm doing some blogging there. I have a Twitter account that is @JourneysWithMay. I have an Instagram account that is also Journeys with May. So those are all ways that you can find me. I also have set up a GoFundMe account since I do have the nonprofit, and that is gofundme.com/destination100. So you can find me in lots of places, and I hope you do. You know, setting up the GoFundMe campaign, it's important to have money, but the moral support is what is priceless. And I love everybody that is following me on the Facebook page or on the GoFundMe or wherever, because I get feedback. People say, wow, that's really amazing, or we're going to be following you. So those days when I'm out there and it's cold and it's rainy and I'm tired and it's really hard to put one foot in front of the other, knowing that these people are following me and paying attention to these steps that I'm taking will help me make another one.
Well, we're all going to be keeping our eye on you closely.
Thank you. Please do. Don't let me get lost out there.
Now, will you have some type of GPS on you?
I'll have a cell phone.
Okay.
I
know how cell phones work in the mountains, though.
Well, most of the Appalachian Trail today has coverage.
Okay.
There will be some places that you can't get coverage, but again, when you get off the trail, you're going to be going into a town and you can get coverage. So I think that that's going to be sufficient. I hope.
Yeah. So, Mae McDaniel, we wish you the best of luck on your trip.
Thank you very much.
We are totally going to be watching you, following you, and keeping you in our thoughts and our prayers every day, and just keeping up with your fantastic journey. This is amazing what you're doing.
Well, thank you very much. Please do keep up with me, and I look forward to coming back and talking to you when I get through.
Yeah, because we're going to do this whole interview again after the fact so we can ask you, what happened? How did it go?
I hope there's still going to be enough of me left to come in and talk to you.
I'm thinking you're going to do fantastic. Destination 100.
That's it. Destination 100. Live long and live well.
Mae McDaniel, thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name's Dave Arwood. Thank you very much.